Ladies and gentlemen, put on your leather driving gloves, activate sport mode, and try not to shoot flames out of your tailpipe in front of the authorities.
Because it's time to talk Tull to me. You really hit leather on that. Leather. 30 leather daddies lathered my legs. That's my vocal warm-up.
Welcome back. That's my whole body workout.
Oh, self-care. Self-care important.
Welcome.
More now than ever.
Welcome back to Talk Tull to Me. I am Omen Sade.
And I am ashamedly Nick McGill.
And this is Talk Tull to Me, a turbo-powered joyride through the streets of prog rock in a hot little pocket rocket called Jethro Tull. From starting out in first gear all the way back with This Was, to all the way through the running the red lights of the 80s synth years, and finally getting into the highway, high-efficiency part of the trip that is jtull.com.
You know, I originally thought this was inspired by your playing Mario Kart, but now I realize it's because of your new car.
I have a new car.
Yeah, it's in Mario Kart.
It's like Mario Kart.
It might as well be a Mario Kart.
That's what I feel like when I hit the accelerator.
There's a button that has a turtle shell on it, and you're not sure what it does.
Yeah, one time I was driving and I heard a car horn outside, and it had a particular frequency, and I legit thought to myself, "Oh no, red shell."
That's a little worrisome, actually. I would be concerned. So, yeah, welcome back to another episode of Talk Tull to Me. Bit of divergence there. We have ourselves a fair amount of housekeeping today before we jump into the meat and potatoes that is the final act of a passion play. So all very exciting. So before we get into that, Marley, if you don't mind doing the honors, paperwork, please.
And Marley.
The goats are loose in the yard again.
Omen, do you have goats?
I'll never become a vegetarian.
Did you allow her
one's...
to bring goats into the yard?
No one's asking you to become a vegetarian. I need the taste of flesh in my mouth. Well, there are lots of ways to accomplish that, as I know so well.
Marley, as usual, thank you for not saying anything. Thank you. Your Ritz bits will be in your lunchbox next week.
I don't want to break my vow of silence. Oh no!
There goes the Ritz bits. I'm sorry, Marley.
10 years down the drain.
All right, so let's start with a pile of emails.
Your emails, sir.
So I've got some two quick ones from repeat offenders and a brand new one. So real quick from Jacqueline, a previous writer in. It's been a while since she wrote in, but she's jumping back in now that we've wrapped up Thick as a Brick in terms of the actual episodes out there right now. So she tells us that Thick as a Brick is her most favorite album, which is great. I'm glad that she could enjoy that full span. And she likes something that I find it really interesting. She likes to put it on whenever she wants to feel creative. And what better way to get the juices going than listening to that thing? And she also likes how dark it sounds, the darkness of a lot of those pieces. And I can see how, if that's kind of your thing, creatively, if you're thinking artistically dark, that is certainly a way to go to use that for inspiration.
Wow.
And one final thing from her, she and her fiance have a name for the time in which she listens to Jethro Tull. They call it her JTP, the Jethro Tull Protocol, which
oh my God,
is amazing. Which I want to name our cover band the Jethro Tull Protocol, I think.
The Jethro Tull Protocol, yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
That's incredible. I think that that's also a military procedure.
The Jethro Tull Protocol? It's an
Yeah.
appendix procedure.
General, we're going to have to activate the JTP.
Oh, dear God. I pray for our souls. Okay, another email from Jason K. Super quick and sweet. I love it. He is our self-proclaimed Tullite. Huzzah! Thanks for slogging through thick. Passion might be even more fun. My fourth fave album. Cheers. Short and sweet. I don't think Thick as a Brick was a slog. I don't think I would go that far.
I think that it was daunting at the beginning.
Yes.
Like many things.
It was a
like
big one.
putting on pants in the morning.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
A daunting prospect. But once you start, you may as well keep going.
Yeah, you can't stop halfway through. That's
Well,
just
you can, but it's
even more
not
inconvenient.
Not a good idea. Yeah.
That's why I just sleep in my pants. Okay, one final email from a new offender, a new Tull Skull, old Joseph H. here. He says, "Hey guys, I have some comments and think it is cool when you interact with us, the Tull listeners. First, and I know it's off topic, but listening to Aqualung last month reminded me of my days when I was still young. I had the best of Jethro Tull that I had stolen from my sister's albums, and when I got the Aqualung cassette, I noticed a one-note difference on Martin's introduction to Locomotive Breath. Now, I haven't verified this, but I know that they changed some things in compilation albums and when it was either a U.S. release or a U.K. release, so that is highly possible. Picture this. A 13-year-old kid with the album on the turntable and the cassette in the player listening to the song like it was the Zapruder film. To me, the second generation of Tull listeners, 20 years younger than Ian, we didn't have access to all of those bonus tracks that you and I have, or had when we were growing up. Sometimes it seems that bonus tracks attached to albums don't sound contemporary with those albums. And I kind of agree. Sometimes they do feel out of place.
Yeah, I think it's sometimes because they're touched up so much.
Yes, yeah, or they were not thematically actually a part of that album. They were just happened to be around that time. As far as Thick as a Brick, it is fun listening to the both of you break this down in such a serious manner. But I remember hearing an interview with Ian where he highlighted the non-serious nature of the album. He recounts that Tull opened for, now the industry would say supported, they opened for Yes on tour. Ian was put off by the way that Yes took themselves so seriously. In this interview, he states that is why the opening line of the album is, "I really don't mind if you sit this one out." He also stated, parentheses, now I heard this interview 20 or 30 years ago, so please forgive me if I'm misquoting, that it's rock and roll and it should be fun. On a final note, Nick, if you compare Crest of a Knave with Catfish or J Tull again, I will drive to your house and take a dump on your front steps. There is a reason why the album won a Grammy, even if it shouldn't have been hard rock. But we can have that argument in a few years when you guys do the album. Gentlemen, keep doing what you do, and thanks from me and all of the Tull fanatics. Joe H. First of all, thank you, Joe. Love it. Absolutely adore emails from you guys. We really do. I want to defend myself. I've never compared it to Tull.com. I've never compared anything to Tull.com. Crest of a Knave and Catfish and what's the other one? No, I understand why you think I lump them together. Broadsword. That's the other one. Broadsword.
Oh, yeah.
The only reason I lump them together is because I was introduced by you, Omen, to all three of those at the same time.
Yeah.
So to me, they have that same feeling. Even though Broadsword was 82, Crest was 87, and Catfish was 91. They have chunks of time in between that where other albums came out. But to me, in my Tull development, they all fall in that same time frame. But in terms
Your Tull evolution.
I was trying to come up with one of those. Thank you. In terms of my Tull evolution. But genre-wise and sound-wise and content-wise, I acknowledge they're not comparable.
Nick, I would suggest that you invest in a some rubber cleaning gloves and maybe a bottle of Simple Green.
Is that forethought? Is that planning ahead, you're saying?
Exactly.
I'm sorry, Joe. I meant no offense. And I acknowledge it, but that is just the way I see it. And I understand that no one else probably sees it that way.
Nick, I also want to point out a theme that I have noticed running through the narratives of a lot of Tull fans, and that is the theme of having one of your formative Tull experiences a result of stealing albums from family members.
Uh-huh. We've definitely heard that a couple of times.
That's something that you have talked about a lot, and that stood out to me in this email. I thought it was amazing that he stole it from his sister.
Yeah. It's pretty common to take it for his generation to take it from an older sibling, from our generation to take it from our parents, I think, is what it was.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And for the next generation, it'll actually be the result of grave robbing, which is exciting.
I plan to be buried with all of my Tull albums, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Like an Egyptian pharaoh, you'll need these in the afterlife.
Yep. I'll put curses on all of them. All right, so that's it for emails. Thank you, everyone. Please keep them coming. We love the feedback, even if,
yes.
you know what, not even if, but especially if there's some sort of, I don't want to say confrontation, but differing opinion. I love that. I love hearing that. I don't want just fawning praise, I love it.
I mean, a little bit of fawning praise is fine, but...
Preamble, you can start with the fawning praise.
Sure. So, Nick, the other exciting thing that we have here is another review.
Nailed it. Give it to me.
Cue the review sting.
Sir, sensors have detected another star in the sky.
Dear Lord, that's 5 stars. 5 stars. 5 stars. 5 stars. 5 stars. 5 stars.
This is from someone from whom we've heard before. Someone from the Tull, the ranks of the Tull army. Yes, it is none other than a review from Captain Fleshy Boy the Third. Title: These two beautiful boys really know their Tull.
So far, factually accurate.
If you love Jethro Tull and the music of old E&A, you'll love what the Momes are doing. When I was 16, I found out about Tull through a copy of Aqualung in my dad's LP collection. There you are. And have been listening for a year now. As I don't know many fellow Tull skulls, as the Momes like to call them, my age, I rejoiced after stumbling upon my new favorite podcast, Talk Tull to Me. Now long hours listening to Ian Anderson, M. Lancelot Barr, and the rest of the gang can be supplemented with insightful commentary from my two bros, Nick and Omen. These guys brighten up my Tuesday and are really worth the listen. Thank you, Captain Fleshyboy III. We shall send an honorary volume of 21 Tull blasts in your direction.
And I want to point out he is an international Tull skull. He's from Canada. That's exciting.
Oh, that is international.
Yeah.
And part of the youth.
That's right. He found Aqualung when he was 16 and has been listening for a year now.
Now, I'm not very good at math, but that's younger than me, Nick.
Not by much, but yeah.
I'll send you $20 later.
Yep. Just slip that under the door. Yeah, awesome. Thank you for that 5-star beaming review. Totally love it, Captain Fleshy Boy. Loving it. And very excited to see such a young Tull skull.
Yeah.
It's great. It's really great to see the passion continuing through the years as I feel the fan base will dwindle as time goes. But if we keep pushing the podcast, maybe we'll
and
get there.
thank you, Captain Flasherboy III, for continuing the time-honored tradition of stealing your family members' LPs.
Yep. More proof to our theory there.
So, Nick, do we have anything else to do?
I've got one more thing that I want to talk about from last week, super quickly. First of all, you said that chunk was your favorite sound from this album. And I said, bits and pieces of it are for the most part, but I want to backtrack and say, after having edited the episode and listened to that chunk over and over again, it really is the best part of this album, hands down. But also a thing that I noticed while editing is about 7.5 minutes into that piece, no, almost 8. It's about 7:50 into that chunk of time, Act 3 rather, there is this brief little snippet of organ.
Okay.
It's just a nice little slow breakdown of organ from
John Evan.
From our friend John Evan. Okay. Now, that to me sounded very peculiar and made me think of Lynyrd Skynyrd's Freebird intro.
Fascinating.
Now, it's obviously not note for note, but
Some of the chords are the same.
Freebird came out in 73.
Right.
And Passion Play was also out in 73.
Whoa.
And this is the only time we hear that just straight organ sound in this album.
Do you think that there was some kind of a vibe going on, Nick, that both John Evan and the organist for Lynyrd Skynyrd
Skynyrd?
There's more than one ways to skin a Lynyrd, Nick.
That's in fact, embarrassingly so.
Do you think that they were drawing from the same inspiration, or do you think this is total coincidence?
I don't know. I'm inclined to say it's just straight up coincidence. I really am. But maybe there was something going on in the sounds of music at that time that could have influenced both John Evan and Skynyrd to have put that in there. Granted, that sound in Freebird kind of runs throughout the whole thing as a part of the theme, whereas it really is just a little bubble in a Passion Play.
Yeah.
Just a cool thing to point out, I think. I found it pretty fascinating.
A fascinating little piece of Tulkiology for you.
Little nugget, a teeny note. I mentioned it as a teeny note to you, and I believe you mocked me when I said teeny note.
I was excited about your teeny note, Nick. I would never think about mocking you.
I can appreciate that. I would never think about mocking you.
So, without further ado...
No more ado. Yeah, we're good.
We shall bid adieu to this intro, and now we can finally move into the long-awaited conclusion to a Passion Play.
That's right. This is the last 9 minutes and 40 seconds, Act 4 of a Passion Play. It is Magus Perdé's Drawing Room at Midnight.
So strap yourselves in, and let's have a listen.
Wow, goodness. That was a lot heftier than I was expecting.
That's what I say as well.
Said the vicar to the priest. Is that where you were going?
Yes, that's it.
Yeah.
Nick, that was... I almost wish that we'd split that up into 2 sections, but...
I know.
But I have faith in our analytical prowess, and I think we're just going to blast through this like something that blasts.
Like someone fleeing from Lucifer.
We're going to blast through this like I blast through the speed limit when I put down the pedal of my Fiat 500 Abarth.
Yeah, that.
Did I mention that I got a new car?
No, I mentioned it, but yeah, I suppose you should
right.
too. So, Flight from Lucifer, where we begin.
Should we start out musically, as is our wont?
Yeah, go for it. Let's jump right in musically. What do you got?
I like the laser sounds.
Does Lucifer is known for his lasers, his laser shows. So
yes. Hell is a laser show.
yeah.
As
well,
often say.
Yeah.
No, but I really do like the kind of weird. It's probably I would imagine it's the organ at various points making those fun sounds.
Yeah.
I have to admit I was actually so wrapped up in the lyrics that I didn't really start taking music notes until the 10:08 to Paddington Station instrumental.
Yeah. So let's just do lyrics for Flight from Lucifer then. Yeah.
So again, we see this theme which has come up a bunch of times in Anderson's writing, which is the rejection of duality.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I would gladly trade my halo for a horn and my horn for the hat I once had.
I love that line.
I'd give up my halo for a horn and the horn for the hat I once had.
It's amazing. Yeah, and I mean, it all seems to be wrapped up in this desire to return to life, which is very. We've talked a lot about Dante's Divine Comedy during this album, and I feel like we're right back there. Dante does eventually return to the world of the living after his passage through the three realms, and I feel like that's the theme here is he's tried this whole afterlife thing, and he says, no, thank you.
Not for me.
It's not for me.
Didn't have the patience for heaven. Hell is clearly scary.
Super scary.
Yeah, I'll give up the halo to get to the horns because the horns may give me an opportunity to get out and be alive again.
Yeah.
But before we go any further, you passed. I have a question. Flee the icy Lucifer. Oh, he's an awful fellow. What a mistake! I didn't take a feather from his pillow.
Right.
Flee the icy Lucifer, oh, he's an awful fellow. What a mistake, I didn't take a feather from his pillow.
Is that a classical reference?
I don't believe so. But
It-
I think it's just a way of saying I didn't do him even a small amount of wrong. I don't deserve this.
Oh, and yet I'm still being punished.
Right.
Like,
If it is a
okay.
classical reference, then it is one with which I have no familiarity.
The only thing I could think of is like eating the pomegranate and then you get stuck in hell for half a year, but it's not the same.
Yeah, I only ate one feather out of the pillow as I
That's
slept.
that's all I ate. I shouldn't be punished this bad.
That reminds me of that joke.
That joke.
Would you like me to tell you the joke?
Oh, did I have to ask for it? I thought.
Yeah, I'm like a vampire in that regard. You have to invite me in.
Oh, then no, you're not invited.
Oh,
Because you will suck my soul out with this joke, I'm sure.
no.
Yes, tell me the joke, Omen.
All right, so last night I had this amazing dream that I was surrounded by all these huge marshmallows, these delicious marshmallows, and I spent the whole dream eating these big fluffy marshmallows that were bigger than my head. And then the weird thing was I woke up and all my pillows were gone. Because I ate the pillows.
I'm gonna distort your rim shot to make it sound sad.
Does it need to sound sadder than that?
Because I'm sad. Okay, so further into fleeing from Lucifer, it's basically just saying, I'll do this if you can get me the heck out of here. get me out of here. I'll do anything.
Yes.
In various iterations. I would gladly be a dog barking up the wrong tree. I'd give 2 or 3 for one of those days that never made impressions on the old score.
I would get 2 or 3 for one of those days that never made impressions on the old score. I would gladly be a dog barking up the wrong tree.
I want to pull that line out specifically. Actually, both of those lines you both said, because they both remind me of other songs.
Okay.
I would gladly be a dog barking up the wrong tree reminds me so much of, because it's such a sad thing. Like give me life if only to be a dog.
Right.
Reminds me of a lyric in Jacques Brel's Ne me quitte pas, which is the saddest song ever recorded by the human voice, in which Ne me quitte pas means don't leave me, and so the whole song is about, pleading with his lover to not leave. And he says at one point, let me be your dog, the shadow of your dog, the shadow of your hand.
Laisse-moi devenir l'ombre de ton ombre, l'ombre de ta main, l'ombre de ton chien. Ne me quitte pas, ne me quitte pas, ne me quitte pas, ne me quitte pas.
If I could just be in your presence, not even be touched by you, just the suggestion of being touched by you.
Exactly. That he would rather be a shade near his lover.
Yeah.
That would be better than being separated.
That's beautiful.
That's what that reminded me of. And then the brilliant wordplay lyric, I would give 2 or 3 for one of those days. It reminds me of Beyonce's Countdown.
Does it now?
Are you familiar with that? Look it up.
I'm not.
The chorus is, you can look up the chorus and drop it in here and you'll see what.
We dressing through the night. He picked me up. We made me feel so lucky. He kissed me in his lips. We be making love and still the one I do this. I'm trying to make us still the one.
Okay, is that all you want to talk about Beyonce?
I mean, I could talk about Beyonce all day long. Actually, I couldn't. I don't know that much about her. But the theme is just fascinating here. You know, that he would trade anything just to have one day, one normal day that made no impressions on the old score. So a day of no importance.
Yeah, something unremarkable. Yeah.
Yeah. There's so much. Everyone's saved. We're in the grave. See you there for afternoon tea. I mean, it's like, you know, the inevitability of death.
Everyone's safe, we're in the grave. See you there for afternoon tea.
Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna happen, but I still want to trade it in, even if I get one more day of inconsequential existence.
Yeah.
Because one more day is still better than where I am now.
Yeah. That's quite powerful.
Yeah.
It suggests to me that we should really enjoy even the banalities.
That exactly the word I was going to use. Yeah.
The banalities of listening to a podcast
About Jethro Tull.
Jethro Tull.
And then there is a train station imagery,
Right.
which brings us to the platform. I thank everybody for making me welcome is a bit tongue-in-cheek.
I thank everybody for making me welcome. Might stay, but my wings have just dropped off.
Thanks everyone in hell for making me so welcome. I know you want me to be here. I'd love to
sorry, but I gotta
stay,
go.
but my wings have just dropped off.
Yeah.
So I'm no longer an angel, and the only way I can get out of here is taking this train, the 10:08 to Paddington.
You know what I find delightful about that is that trains have often been used in song imagery to describe leaving the world of living and going to the afterlife, either to heaven. This train don't carry no ramblers, this train, you may recall.
This train don't carry no gamblers, this train.
Or to hell, such as in the song By the Darkness, I've got a one-way ticket to hell and back.
I love that song.
It's so good. But there's lots of references in all kinds of genres to the Devil's Train and the Train to Heaven, all these things. But this is an interesting reversal of that common imagery where he's taking the train out of hell.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's not a one way trip. It's possible to get the heck out of there. So then we have some instrumental. The 1008 to Paddington is an instrumental chunk in the middle.
A delightful instrumental in which we have some lovely acoustic guitar, a really great moment of bass and drums. Usually I don't listen to the music on my headphones because we're actually using a little peek behind the scenes. This is a new recording setup. You may realize that my voice is even more mellifluous than usual.
Silkier, more sultry, and hopefully none of that crappy feedback sound that we've been trying to deal with for the last so many episodes. I'm so sorry, everyone.
We're gonna have to put that in artificially now.
Yeah, I have a filter for it.
But I really appreciated the drum and bass section. It's just such a fun. I imagine with good enough speakers, it's the sort of thing that you feel more than hear.
Sure, yeah. Yeah, a powerful enough subwoofer, definitely. Yeah.
Subwoofer? I hardly know her.
You are on...
You brought her. You subwoofer.
You are on point with the dad jokes today.
Thank you.
No, thank you. Now on to Magus Perdé. Magus Perdé?
Magus
Perdé? No. So,
Magus.
Who is Magus Perdé?
Oh, Nick. Nick.
Yes.
Nick. Now it is time to it's time to put on our diving helmets because we're going to take a deep dive.
Yeah, definitely.
Obviously, we're dealing with some Latin. However, Perdé is not what it might seem. I did some research on a little thing I call the internet.
First of all, let's be specific. It's Perdé, P-E-R-D with an apostrophe over the E. Because that does make a difference in terms of Tolkieology here.
Oh yes, and as the foremost Tolkieologists on this podcast, we want to be specific. So it turns out that Perdé is actually a compression, an elision of two words, par Dieu, for God. So it's an old English expression which means by God or for God. It was at times used as a mild oath, by God, such as in the poem of Piers Plowman from the long time ago time.
One of the original
14th century.
Originally written, what's it called?
Books.
Yeah. That's not the word I'm looking for.
What word are you looking for, Nick? What's it mean?
The poet, the like nature.
Allegory.
It's not
pastoral.
Idyllic. It's something
pastoral.
Like pastoral. Thank you. One of the original pastorals. Yes. Dear Lord.
Also, a satirical allegory,
Yes.
much like this album, with which we're dealing with currently. So Magus comes from Persian actually, and means magician, but in some contexts it can mean priest. So
It's also Latin for teacher, too. It's like a respected term for a teacher.
yes, but it can also mean wizard,
Yeah.
or someone who deals in magic.
Mhm.
So in this case, a rough translation could be priest of God, or priest by God.
Yeah. And I've also got a different interpretation here, that
Okay.
Perdé is the modern French for lost.
Yes, that's
And
true.
it's got the same root as perdition, which perdition is to be damned, perdition is the
be
state
lost.
of hell, to be lost. So he could also be the headmaster of hell, of the lost. So it could be a person sent there by God, or it could be another version of Satan or one of his men.
Right. You could also, if you're going with that definition of Perdé, you could also say that is a lost priest.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Much like Lucifer himself is a lost angel.
Right.
Yeah.
However, I'm more inclined to go with the 11th century English version interpretation of Perdé rather than the modern French.
Well, do you want me to break your heart?
Again, Nick?
Because in 1976, Ian's response to the question of who is Magus Perdé was, it's a mixture of Latin and French.
Well, I think that this is a great example of the
Ian Anderson
English,
being wrong.
of the English and their famous lack of understanding of French. This is why wars happen, Nick.
Yep, Ian Anderson has caused many.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think those are a variety of options to explain who Magus Perdé is.
Yeah, let's move on before I Perdé my frickin' mind here. Well, and let's look at it in the context.
I suppose we should do that, yeah.
Magus Perdé release the chains, unhand the chains.
Take your hand from off the chain.
Okay.
Take your hand from off the chain.
Magus Perdé, take your hand from off the chain.
I love the sound of that kind of like the setup of Magus Perdé is really like kind of haunting and howling.
Yeah.
And then there's that imperative at the end after.
How does he sing it again?
Nope.
Oh, do it once more. You sound so
Not
nice.
good. Not gonna do
Well,
it.
we'll do it together. 1, 2, 3.
Take your hand from off the chain.
Chains.
Wow. I can't wait till we start our cover band.
Yeah, the Jethro Tull Protocol.
The Jethro Tull Protocol.
So good. This is Ronnie speaking to Magus Perdé here. Lusa wish to still the rain, the storm about to be. Here I am, a voyager into life.
Loose a wish to still the rain, the storm about to be. Here am I, voyager into life.
Saying he's
Right.
he's basically traveling back up out of hell.
Yeah. Yeah. He wants to cut the cord. He wants to drop the anchor and ascend.
The passengers upon the ferry crossing, waiting to be born, renew the pledge of life's long song, rise to the reveille horn.
The passengers upon the ferry crossing, waiting to be born. Renew the pledge of life's long song, rise to the reveille horn.
Oh, so this is a fun thing. This is one of the first examples of one of my favorite things in Jethro Tull, which is referencing other Jethro Tull songs.
Yeah. Yep. He's so good at that. I love it so much. Life's long song, life's a long song, obviously.
Yeah.
And a reveille is something is a military bugle call that is generally used to wake people up at sunrise.
Yes, but it could also be referred to the reawakening of the dead at the time of judgment.
Oh, cool. Okay. I like that too. I like that better, in fact. And then the next line, animals queuing at the gate that stands upon the shore, breathe the ever-burning fire that guards the ever door. I just want to bring that up because we get another animal reference here.
Animals queuing at the gates that stand upon the shore. Breathe the ever-burning fire that guards the ever door.
That could very well have been a part of the Chateau disaster. And
interesting.
references animals that we're going to see in the next album, in War Child.
Do you think that this animals queuing is a visual reference to loading the Ark, Noah's Ark?
I think it's more an imagery of souls waiting, and they look like cattle just moving into a train car or into a barn or a processing plant. You know.
Oh, and
there are so many.
An abattoir.
Yeah, a charnel house. Yeah. Yeah, there are so many humans or souls or whatever. They become faceless, and they're basically just animals.
You know what? I don't know if I've ever mentioned this, Nick, but I really love Jethro Tull.
Do you know?
I do. But the writing, Ian's writing is just so layered and so subtle. There's this wonderful, just a couple lines back, the passengers upon the ferry crossing waiting to be born. We always hear about the ferry going across the river Styx, as in, don't fear the ferryman.
Don't fear the Reaper?
That's what I mean.
Don't fear the ferryman. The sequel, the less popular sequel.
All right.
Oh,
never mind.
there's a gorgeous cover of Don't Fear the Reaper. I can't remember who did it. I'll put that one in instead of the Blue Oyster Cult one.
Right.
Put it in there.
But we always see this imagery of the ferry taking you to the afterlife, and here he reverses it.
Yeah.
And has incorporated almost a reincarnation element, a little drop of Buddhism in there.
And it's the same thing as the train as well. You were saying the train is generally used to go one way.
Yeah. Yeah. And Ian's like, wait a moment. Both of these things can travel in both directions. Leave it to a Scot to point out the obvious.
Yep. That's what they say about the Scots.
Man, son of man, by the flame for ever life. Goodness me. Yours to breathe and breathe the pain of living, living be. Here I am, roll the stone away from the dark into everday.
Man, son of man, by the flame of ever life, yours to breathe and breath the pain of living be. Here am I, roll the stone away from the dark into every day.
I mean, if it was anyone else, I would think that this is, the traditional Christian imagery of like the everlasting life after salvation. But I think it's not.
No, it's Ronnie wanting to get the hell out of there, pun intended.
Yeah. It's just interesting, we have a combination of yours to breathe and breathe the pain of living, this, again, almost Buddhist concept of life is suffering. That's inherent to life.
But it tells you that you're alive.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. But then immediately after, we have the super Christian
My least
imagery
favorite superhero.
of roll the stone away.
Yeah.
Of Jesus's big rock getting moved.
Or Lazarus as well. The resurrection of Lazarus.
Did he have a stone?
Lazarus. I believe he was, yeah. In a
The
tomb.
resurrection of Lazarus.
That's my favorite story. So with that, here I am, roll the stone away from the dark into ever day. Is Ronnie resurrected at the end? Ronnie comes back to life?
I think so.
He
And here's-
somehow did something right to get there?
or something very wrong.
I guess.
You know, I think that this is like Dante's Divine Comedy, not a story of the death of the protagonist, but rather a story of, it's almost like a Christmas Carol, you know, like here are the various possibilities that lie ahead of you.
Okay.
And with that knowledge, you know, you can go back to your life making better choices or with a greater appreciation for life. It's like that that film with Jimmy, what's his name?
Jimmy Stewart?
It's like that film with Jimmy Stewart.
It's a Wonderful Life?
It's a Wonderful Life, Nick.
My
Yes.
God. Yes.
Here's what it looks like if you're dead. And now with that knowledge, get you back to your life and live it up and breathe the fiery air of life.
So I just, before we go any further, because you mentioned It's a Wonderful Life, which is a Christmas album, the people who did the cover
It's a Christmas album?
I mean, it's a Christmas movie. The people who did the cover of Don't Fear the Reaper are Denmark and Winter. Denmark plus Winter. I just wanted to grab that info.
I suggest you put on some icy hot and grab an ice pack after that massive stretch.
Winter. God. Yes.
Okay.
I believe we have made the reference to It's a Wonderful Life before on this album. I believe so.
Oh, how clever of us.
Preemptively smart. And then after the Magus Perdé bit ends, it drops into the epilogue, which is 2 lines, and it's done. It's done. It's super.
Yeah.
It really wraps up really succinctly.
Now, let's compare the first time we hear that line with the last time that we heard this line.
There was a rush along the Fulham Road into the ever-passion play.
What we've just heard is there was a rush along the Fulham Road into the ever passion play. And we have this ever used quite a lot
Yes.
in this whole section.
Mm-hmm.
And then the at the very beginning of the whole album, we have there was a rush along the Fulham Road, there was a hush in the passion play.
Yeah.
There was a rush along the Fulham Road. There was a hush in the passion play.
What do you make of that?
I think that really ties in with the theory of him never having died in the first place. There's a hush in the passion play refers to the fact that the passion play hasn't ended. There's a lull. Things
taking a
went
breather.
quiet. Yeah. And then that last line, a rush along the Fulham Road into the ever passion play, they're getting the heck out of there. He's getting out of there and learning to appreciate life, or having learned to appreciate life. So he's rushing back into existence, into this passion play.
Are you ready for a hot take?
I cannot tell you how ready I am for a clam bake.
Here it is. Get your butter. Here it is. Visualize this. Ronnie Pilgrim, a young man about town in London, going about his day, not giving a rat's bum about things. And then he's rushing along the Fulham Road, which, as we know, is a busy street in London. Cut to massive car accident. He's thrown through his windshield because he wasn't wearing a seatbelt, because he doesn't care. He hits the pavement. His soul leaves his body for a split second. and goes on an amazing journey where he sees all kinds of things which frighten him. And then, like 100 years later, his soul, bam, right back into his body. Only a second has passed. The cops are standing over him, and they're like, "Are you all right, sir?" And he's like, "I have a new appreciation for life." Boom.
Yeah, I think that's right. I don't think that was that hot of a take.
Oh. I thought a hot take was something that you say, like, off the top of your head. Are you saying that
No.
hot means wrong?
No, hot is like controversial. Hot take is like oh, this might be a little edgy here.
All right.
But that was
Here's
a mild, cool take. That
Here's
was
a sun-warmed take.
gentle, soft caress of a take.
Here's a May breeze of a take.
Yes, very nice. I like it.
Thank you. Right. Nick,
Omen.
we finished a passion play.
Oh dear Lord, did we finish a passion play?
I feel like it's given me a new appreciation for life.
I feel like it's given me a new appreciation for this album, certainly.
I feel like it's given me a new appreciation for Jethro Tull.
Has it?
Yeah, of course it has. Every album, every single
it
song,
always does.
I'm always amazed. But this one in particular, this feels like
Yeah.
such an accomplishment.
Yeah. It's almost a shame that you have to do so deep a dive to really appreciate this album because it's so good on so many levels.
Yes.
But it's the Tull Skulls Tull album.
It's like Cymbeline. Will everyone read it? No. Is it produced very often? No. Is it amazing? Yes.
Yeah, that's right. So
Yeah.
Any final thoughts on this album? I think we've super 100% wrapped it.
I can't wait to actually sit down and listen to it with a cup of tea.
Yeah, the whole thing in one sitting. Just now that we know every bit and piece, see it all together in one chunk again. Yeah.
Yeah, reassemble it. This has been fun, Nick.
Yeah, this has been a good one. This has been a real good one. Omen, next week, do you know what we're doing?
Genuinely, I do not.
Next week, we are starting a 5-month run of War Child.
What?
5 months. 6:30 to 11:10.
Why is it so long?
Because War Child itself is 10 songs.
Okay.
And then we've got 10 bonus tracks thanks to the really big War Child album that they put out that had so many extra bonus tracks.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Probably leftovers from the Chateau disaster.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely,
Wow.
yeah. Yeah.
Well, if you like War Child, get ready for the time of your life. If
Yeah.
you don't like War Child, see you in October.
No, in the second half of November.
See you coming up to next Christmas.
But that being said, if War Child's not up on your list, I highly encourage you either just listen to the album again or listen to us pick it apart because it is one of my favorites. It's the first Tull album I heard, so I'm very biased about it.
Yeah.
But it's so good. It's
If
such a
you
good
don't like
album.
War Child, please send in your address so we can drive to your house and take a poop on your front doorstep.
That's right. Yeah, I guess that's a service we offer now.
That's something that not for free, obviously, but
No,
we
no.
offer it.
Really high-level Patreon patrons, I think.
Until next week, I miraculously am Omen Sade.
And I am banally Nick McGill.
We are inevitably feckless momes.
And this, happily, is Talk Tull to Me. Disputatio tol mihi est superbus improvidus momes audio socius network.
Talk Tull to Me is a proud member of the Feckless Momes Audio Network.